All right, so it looks like we are entering into picks and bans for our first game of the day. We have on the blue side is NaCl, Salt versus Patience. Um, we have starting off Echoes getting banned away by Salt. It looks like they don't want to have to deal with any of the new champ. He's been coming out really strong um, in these first few days of being released, and I'm guessing that they just haven't been practicing it, knowing that Elio or Hater or whoever their Patience's mid lane ends up being could play it. The Aurelia, that's a pretty targeted ban against Atrial. He really likes to play it. He has really good success with it. Um, we'll see if that actually pans out. Atrial is a pretty wide pool. So then we have the Rumble getting banned away from Salt. Um, don't know off the top of my head who that's targeted at. Can find out pretty shortly though. And then Skarner to take away from the jungle. Um, Let's see. I wish I knew which role everyone was getting slotted into. It'd make this a little bit easier. Talon's getting picked away. A little bit surprised by that one. That's a champion that H-Roll really does enjoy playing. And then Hecarim being banned away by Patience. Hecarim's been really strong right now in the top lane meta where you can take Teleport Ignite or Teleport Smite because of the strong mobility that he has. But Yoro Asakura picking up Sejuani. Not sure who's going to end up being playing that, but Sejuani is a really strong jungler right now. She's just gotten a little bit of some nerfs recently, but her win rate's still really strong. She has a lot of AOE and the team fights. And one of the big things that I'm really excited about with this is because there is that wide variety of skills in this tournament. We're going to be seeing. A lot of team fights being fairly effective, because you're going to be organizing a lot of people that may not necessarily have mechanical skill in lane, um, but you get a big explosion, you just throw it at the other team, and you can watch the fireworks pretty well. Jumping over to the purple side, we do see Severe and Thresh being locked in. This, I feel, is going to give them a fairly strong bottom lane. I'm not sure. I know Yarius is going to be playing one of those. He really prefers playing the AD or support role. And his Thresh is pretty good. I haven't seen his Sphere, so I'm not sure which way that's going to end up going. Um, but that lane, it's going to have decent amount of push and poke, and it looks like it's going to end up being a fairly brawly bot lane with Jinx and Leona being locked in for the blue side. And that continues with that sort of wombo comp that we mentioned for the blue side. Um, being able for Leona to solar flare in, Sejuani to have her ultimate, as well as Jinx has a fair amount of AoE as well. So Patience is definitely going to want to live up to their namesakes, remain patient as team fights break out, and don't get grouped up against that. As for that early game in the bot lane, you know, Severe and Thresh both have really good tools for dealing with the kind of all-ins that Leona wants to do. Being able to flay backwards, hook her to get that stun for a little bit when she goes in, as well as Nom Nom having the built-in spell shield to get rid of that shield slam stun, as well as then being able to follow up by Thresh lanterning out. So it looks like both teams are getting their fair share of AoE. Gragas looks like is going to be the jungler for Patience. It's another one of those really strong ones that we see fairly heavily banned in solo queue right now, right beside Sejuani. Mostly because he has that really strong built-in tankiness. He's capable of clearing the jungle fairly well, coming out with strong ganks, and then continuing into the late game with that Cinder Hulk, with the AoE, team separation capability of his ultimate. One thing that is a little concerning right now for Team Patience is they are building fairly tanky. They don't really have they're going to really have to rely on that fifth pick for that second threat. Otherwise, it's going to all be on the back of what Nom Nom can do. Um, Looking over at Team Salt, we see Vladimir about to get locked in, and Sinister Potato is going to lock in the Warwick. So looks like we're going to be seeing probably a Vladimir mid, Warwick top, which is going to give a fair amount of sustain in lane. Probably, actually, I'm not really sure where that Nautilus and where that Gragas is going to be going. Um, because normally, Nautilus would go into the support or the jungle, but then Gragas is normally going to be in the jungle as well. So it may end up being that the Gragas will go top lane. So we won't get to see that Cinderhulk utility, but there's still going to be potential for a little more threat in that case. All right, so we do see the Ahri locked in. Looks like there was a proxy pick. Warwick was a proxy from Warg. Gotcha. All right, so was not Warwick, was in fact a Morgana. We'll get the teams back in here pretty quick. There's Yarius. And random bans this time. Can't let the other teams know what they're actually doing. All right, and hopefully this will let us know which of the champions everyone is playing, so we can comment a little more, pull up their OPGG, talk about what they've liked with it. But let's see. So does look like it is going to be Yo Asakura in the jungle, running that Sejuani. Um, and one of the big things that I do like about both of these compositions is there's a heavy presence of AoE on the team. Um, and we get a little bit of styling with the Bard getting shown, but we know that's going to be locked over to Nautilus. Looks like it is going to be, in fact, Gragas in the jungle is going to be a Nautilus top lane. So we are going to get to see a fairly tanky team from Patience. Uh, my guess for the shot callers, which is where I think a lot of the um, strategy is going to end up coming from, is for Salt. It'll either be George or Yo Asakura. Um, George, I know, has a fairly aggressive style, liking to be a lane bully, liking to brawl a little bit. Yarius lives up to the team's namesakes a bit more, is a little more strategical on how executes. But we'll see how these games turn out. Haven't seen these teams played before as these teams, just with some of the individual players. So the matchups that we're going to be having is it looks like in the top lane we'll be having Atrol on Vladimir going up against Yarius on Nautilus. So that should be a fairly farmy lane. Vladimir will start to get an advantage, I believe, simply because of the innate sustain that he has. However, Nautilus, does have a fair amount of tankiness that Vladimir will have to push through to knock him down. Yarius on Nautilus, on the other hand, is going to have a lot of CC, so Atrial will have to be careful of any of those Gragas ganks, simply because of the mobility and lockdown that Patience will have on the top lane. In the middle lane, it looks like we're going to be having Satanking on Morgana, going up against Elio on Ahri. Um, So this is Morgana's really going to be wanting to farm early. It doesn't have a lot of those tools to be able to fight and brawl and just dive right in very early. Ari, on the other hand, she has a lot of capability for assassination. So, you know, going to be looking to see how that plays out, see if anyone can get the advantage. Elo-wise, Elo is a little bit higher than Satan King. So I would estimate that this one would probably be going over to Ari. But again, if there's any kind of jungle presence from Yoasakura and Sejuani, that could go either way, or Hater could come in as well. Then in the bot lane, we have that Jinx Leona matchup I was talking about before against the Severe and Thresh. Both of these ADCs really strong at pushing, really strong at sieging, really strong at pushing towers down. So I feel like this is going to be a big case of seeing who can get ahead in the early game is going to define how a lot of the fights, the lane pressure is going to be decided. Simply because once they can start pushing, they can start putting that pressure on towers. Those towers will go fast, and both teams will have to be able to respond to that. They are fairly immobile though, so vulnerable to ganks, and with both Sejuani and Gragas in there, I expect that there may not be some early game ganks, but definitely expect to see some of that coming in here, probably around levels 5 to 6. Once they start approaching their ultimates, they start having more of that CC and the upgraded smite to give a lot of CCs to the lane. But yeah, there's some definite kill pressure here in this game. We have 3 threats from Salt, and then I would consider 2 really strong threats from Patience. And clock's ticking down. We'll get into game and we'll see what happens, see how these teams have practiced, see how some of their shot calling has come together, and hopefully it will be a fun and bloody tournament. So something that's a little bit fun, I guess, for this, we have Satan King and Nom Nom both getting their respective banners for the champions they are on. And as you can see from the various banners, we do have a fairly wide range of skills and play styles from both of these teams. Early game, I would imagine that blue side is going to be wanting to go in aggressive. Here we go. We have Patience pinging out, possibly wanting to get some presence in on the pop blue side jungle. Or just pinging out. Looks like they might be going for a 5-point defense. Salt, on the other hand, is going to be heading straight in. Going to be spotted out by that Severe. Severe's going to be running away. Catch the ward, not able to take it down. So that invade is going to fall flat. However, no losses there.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
It looks like taunts are coming out already. There we go. Nothing like a bit of smack talk to start off the game. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have both of the junglers are going to be starting off with the ADCs. Does make it a little bit easier to get that stronger leash, but it does mean that the ADCs won't be able to get the extra camp, come into lane a little bit stronger. No one else is going to be starting with the jungle camp. Really, I don't think anyone else can. Both Vladimir and Nautilus, they're level 1, they don't really have high damage, even if they do have some of the sustain. Grompler down, parts go down. Should get champions listed in order. Make it easier to compare all that. There we go. Close out some stuff. Okay, that should be a little better. force Prin out there. Buff camp, top lane, going fairly easily. Nautilus getting a little more CS. Oh, we have a fight breaking up. Going in onto that threat. Got the level 2. All the summoners are being burned. Looks like the trade turned out fairly evenly. The big thing to take note here, though, is that Jinx did take a bit more damage than Severe. The support, simply due to the extra gold they have to being able to have the biscuits, will get a lot more innate sustain, so getting that damage onto the AD carry is going to be sticking. Fortunately, Snow Ice hadn't used as much of the charges, so able to get a little more healing onto Jinx. Keep her in lane. It looks like we are going to potentially be getting a gank top lane. Gragas is coming around into the river. Has not been spotted at, however, these are just close enough that if he did try to go to the lane, he would get spotted out. Coming back around, coming in, and here we go. Barrel is popped just before he can get the pull out. Forces the flash. So there's the summoner. So Vader going to the jungle. Yarius going deep, trying to burn his flash. Fortunately, couldn't get anything for it. So both pro planar flashes are down. Sejuani's already back. Didn't manage to pick up the upgraded jump to get the ruby crystal and boots. We should give her a little more capability for farming. Normally we see if someone's going to be doing this, they want to get the game later, but don't want to spend the money that's going to go to waste on the jump. That stats against monsters. Although, Yo is coming up, potentially, sides against it when the tower is shoved and Yaris is backing away. Instead, so let's go to the mid lane. We haven't talked about much here. Ahri has a slight lead in farm. It is up on Nana. Does miss the charm. Oh, good trade back on Satan. However, those minions, that 10 damage per auto, does add up fairly quickly. So Satan's getting a little low. So is Elio. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to convert anything with the lack of jumping nearby. So otherwise, let's see. Oh, big advantage in the bot lane from Severe, getting 10 CS up on that Jinx. Not quite enough yet for the BF sword. Still needs a couple hundred more before getting that big item. Nom Nom getting a little rough. One thing to note here is that this side does have the increased number of caster minions, so any fight that happens near this front line, these blue minions will be things work. Sphere, however, is in this case. Morgana is finally getting out of lane. And Elio should have enough to just shove that in, go back, which is then causing Morgana to stick in. Unfortunately, the health of these minions I think is going to be miss a bunch of it anyways. Managed to get the stun off on. So, heal is down. So, first blood is going to be going over to Leona. Popping that Thresh with a beautiful lane gank from Sejuani. One thing that was really nice about that I just want to call out there is Sejuani went in, or excuse me, Leona went in, playing passively, goes in, right before Sejuani is visible. And with both the snare down to mid-blade, then waiting just that half second, popping the shield, gets just enough stun to let Sejuani flash to it, continue that CC chain, then being able to apply in the slow, which makes it very difficult for that to get out there. Oh, looks like we have a fight brewing out in the top lane. Beautiful hold by Vladimir. That's the knock-up, and with that ultimate is enough to take down Yarius. And more fights in the mid lane with another gank from Sejuani. It looks like Salt is going to be pulling ahead in all of their lanes. The one advantage right now that Patience does have is that Sejuani, or that Sivir 20 CS lead is going to help even on the one kill that happened bot lane. However, those other 2 kills, purely advantageous, not able to get any objectives, but then this early in the game, it's still a little difficult, and just getting that several hundred gold lead, plus the experience, and then being able to deny out so the minions can get really strong. Looks like we have a roam in, going to be going for some tanking. That Black Shield's going to allow him a little bit longer. Unfortunately, not enough to be able to pop. Good hook hit. The charm, that should be a dead Morgana here. And looks like they are just going to let Morgana take it. But there's a follow-up. When he gets snared, comes in, not enough to fall into the turret. And Patience is going to be able to disengage. 1 for 0, helps pull them back into the game, brings the gold lead back within 500. And of course, since Vladimir did have to roam for this, Yaris is able to just dump that minion wave right onto the tower. And Vladimir is going to be able to make it there a little bit late. He's going to miss out the cannon minion, but fortunately with that reduced damage, he's not going to miss out much else. So as we reach towards 10 minutes into the game, what I'd like to see, especially with some of the fighting that's been happening around the bot side, is to see these teams start positioning for the dragon. You know, at this point into the game, they have enough damage that if they can get one of those teams dumped out, it's very easy to transition over and pick that up. However, you can't really do it if you have that opposing team there to contest. Ari possibly got out to get caught. Nope, he's gonna spot out Sejuani. Doesn't want to get involved with that. That is dangerous. That is not a pink you want to protect, not with the 3 people around there. But with the knowledge that Sejuani is up there, unfortunately, Gragas doesn't have a Raptor buff to be able to see that ward. But he's going to go and try and get those in. They do see each other, backing away. Neither of which is quite brave enough for a fight. Instead, both teams opting to continue farming. Oh, that hook just barely misses. Not sure how much damage they'd be able to convert on that anyways. Alright, so here's some of the power of that Morgana when she starts getting into this mid-game, now that she's gotten to level up the Q a few times. Wait, oh, Stead is off that dark binding. So it's going to have a little bit weaker pushing pressure, but Morgana still with the dark push incredibly well. And Sejuani coming in for another lane gank, has the flash almost available. This ward there could spot it out, hasn't been seen yet. But with the lane pushing in, and Yoe's spotted out, they will know. Unfortunately, Sejuani does not have that rapid buff either. Nomnom being ballsy, going in. Sejuani come in. Fast ult. Oh, Fresh, you got out of position there. And they are able to pick up the kill. Sinister, though, taking too much of the tower damage. Does fall with the Retribution kill to Severe. Oh, that was messy. But in the top lane, Atrial way far forward. This time, Darius is smart, waits till the pool is out before tossing up the the ult, and they're able to get another kill. However, looks like Salt is going to be able to take the power off of that. Patience might be able to answer with the top lane tower. They should have enough minions, so that should fall. In the mid lane, looks like Morgana is starting to get an advantage. Still having a little trouble farming, but is able to force out a lot of mana usage from that auto in order to keep that wave pushed. But 30 CS differential on that next back, Ahri's going to be able to purchase a lot more than that Morgana, possibly able to, you know, get an additional component for the next big item. Probably not enough for a full item, but enough to make it a lot easier to start pushing the wave, especially once she's able to pick up another blue buff. That'll be really strong. Ooh, binding barely misses. Game is still fairly even wise. Vladimir is picking up a lot of the gold for Salt, and then mid and bot lane are slightly ahead for Patience. Hook lands, very little follow-up, and a great counter engage by Sejuani, forcing the presence. Patience cannot follow through with that. He managed to get a few hundred damage onto Leona, but that will come back fairly quickly with her Relic Shield. Good flash, avoid speed. Fine land on the it is enough. However, both Rockets and Nautilus are here. Both squads up there, Morgana and Sejuani, get out of that. Unfortunately, Elio was not able to go back before that fight broke out. Lulu was still running on that low health, low item. However, is going to be able to come back with a Morellonomicon, which should give her a little more. Good fight there by Yo and Safe King. Bot side looks like non-bomb. Unfortunately, misses the follow-up there. Neither of the junglers are in the area, so there shouldn't be too much happening. Vlad getting the two really big items for him, the Abyssal Scepter and the Scepter is going to give him a lot of sustain in lane, pushing down that magic, letting him heal up more with using all of his various abilities, and forcing Yarius to perpetually farm the tower. Oh man, 16 minutes in the game. Neither team has gone for the dragon yet, so I think it's safe to say we won't be seeing any 5 dragons this game. Still fairly even on the gold, within 1k. One follow-up though, but still enough to toss the game on progress. Sejuani's wanting to get some pressure. Something to also be aware of is look at the vision of this. Both teams are fairly cautious on those vision lines. We do have a little bit of the deep warding to go in case of the transitions both here for Patience and then up here for Salt, making sure this vision is really good at protecting Vladimir, letting him push up into lane. Down here, most of Patience's vision is oriented around that dragon, which they are trying to get some pressure on. They have 5 men per here, 3 pushing into mid, so this is going to force Patience to either deal with the mid lane or have everyone that they want in position for the dragon. So that threat does move Patience out of position for the dragon. A lot of disengage, slam on the tank, he's gonna take her down. April's the only one alive. 1v3, can he do anything? Doesn't look like it. I feel that nope, Mosey is going to survive. 3 remaining. 5 through 2. And an early game needs to be able to take the dragon. Oh, it's a good fight. More patience. One of the things that was really nice about it is that it had the front line right up in the front, so all of the wombo combo that Salt had, they had to go through the choke point. The choke point here first in order to get to the tanks. So let me just go ahead and rewind. So you see here, the tanks are taking up right here. We have Yarius, Hater, Thresh then comes through. So in order to get to the damage Premier and Bart have to come through the tank line that's physical lesson. Nelson goes down. Ultimate Death Rocket right into the tank. Doesn't kill a lot, whereas both Elias and Fury are able to focus down the tank line to the comfortable spot, push through, past the choke point, and then it's just a matter of cleanup. Drop down. But the tank's unprotected, so it's quite a bit of damage. Stun up on the Arius, and that should be a dead after. He's heading back to space. Now with 3 down, I would hope that Salt should be able to push into this tower right here fairly well. We do have the big, so once the Pow speed boost comes up, that tower should go down fairly fast, and should be able to safely get out of here. Gragas doesn't have any objectives in the top lane, can just get the minions starting to slow push, and Ahri gets scared off by that blast. He does have quite a bit of damage at this point. A lot of magic penetration, the sustain of the Hextech Revolver and Q. So good follow-up by Team Salt, takes the ace that they had earlier. Nevertheless, they're still down to 1 dragon, but gold is even. So this game is still anybody's. Okay, so big things both teams are going to be wanting to look at right now. There is the bottom and middle turrets for patience to want to put down, want to get those full outers down, make it easier to rotate around the map, especially with how they have their river set up. So having the river and the basis of the bot jungle is very easy to rotate between those. We're going to fight right now instead. A lot of damage coming out from that Ahri. Bullet goes wide. That Ahri has been doing some work. He's able to take 3 of them down for the cost of no one. Vladimir looking on the side. There's a couple of low health targets that he would just love to kill, but enough with the rest of the team up there that he's going to have to fight the Charm misses. And he's going to pull him to safety with the minion wave. See if that's enough to take him. Alright. But that fight does pull Patience ahead by a few grand. So, big targets right now. I did mention that there's only the 2 damage threats off both that are severe. They are starting to hit their other power spikes, so they're getting a lot of the kills. Patience is doing a really good job of feeding those onto them. You know, you have Ahri, Morel and Omicron's in the range of a lot of burst. It's going to make it a lot easier for her to assassinate that Jinx. As we saw there, from the side, if Jinx steps too far forward, it gets hit by a charm, or gets hit by that spear ball, there's a lot of damage that can be from so I'm hoping to see that as a target. Neutral going in good timing, body slam. Should be enough with the tower to take him down. And it looks like Patience is starting to pull ahead. Are still up, so I think you can expect to see a little more fighting here. Hopefully, Salt can play their team a little bit better. There we go. Got the line forward. That was well protected behind that tank line. So Sienna is going to keep her forward. Fire to the rocket. Ari unable to get on the side, but still doing a lot of damage to the isotope. So far, good. 2 for 1. Finding might be enough. Jinx going to be able to get together. The last rocket is going to let her get away. However, Fresh, good dodge out of the hook, but the body slam is going to be enough to shut up. That's fine. And it is 3v1. However, Vladimir being that one is still fairly strong. Unfortunately, he hasn't been involved with some of these fights. That's one of the things I'd like to see from Salt a little bit more is Vladimir is one of the biggest threats that he has, especially in the team fights. Unfortunately, he cannot just 2v1 severe progress. Tourney will help reset, so it's going to give Salt another chance to be able to take the dragon out. White is going to bot lane again up. Salt is split up. Drop out still protected behind that. So Salt able to finally get a fight to go their way. 3 for nothing. Unfortunately, they did not able. Were not able to get that Patience. Both junglers were trying to vie for that, but Gragas got lucky with the 50-50 and took it down. So, while they did win the fight, they didn't win the objective. They might be able to take top tower down. That is getting fairly low. Gragas is going to be trying to move in to prevent some of that going away. But Jinx, being Jinx, has a lot of power abilities. Gragas a little too far forward, forces the flash, which Leona coming from behind. Side is now distinctly ahead on towers. However, gold is even that Patience was able to pick up earlier. So, objectives. What I'd like to see from Team Salt is start to get a little more vision down. They don't really have a lot of visibility of where Patience is, especially there's not as much of the keyboard. Being able to go for those inner turrets is going to require a little more vision to be able to safely move between some of those lanes at this stage in the game. Patience, on the other hand, there is still that middle power still up, which is providing a lot of map stability and vision. For Team Salt, that lets them move a lot easier between the middle of the map. So I'd like to see them focus, get that down, get a little bit of vision right around that mid turret, and collapse. Both of these teams still want that similar kind of fighting style. They have the double tanks, send those up first, and just push through and try and let your carries do the damage first. Looks like Patience is managing to get a little bit of the vision around where Patience is, and is going for they are more or less in position. It does have that wanting to hide behind. So this is mostly going to depend if it's farmland, but Thresh can get a little Morgana can land fighting. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of wave clear, and both of these teams are really good at that. So let's see who gets out of position first. Oh, Jinx! No, hook goes down. But Alright, Samir on the backside, able to do a lot of damage with his last side gets her out. It is a mid lane and top laner, which is support jungle. They are able to start pushing that in. They have enough health, they have enough mana. They should be able to force Dragons into that tower and take that down. Unfortunately, they don't have the heavy AD, so they won't be able to do a lot of damage. So they should not be able to start doing. Looks like they are instead going to opt to get Vladimir's going to go get side lane Morgana. I'm going to be wasting that damage a little bit. So, fights even in terms of kills. No objectives are taken though. No farm is lost into the side lanes. Gold is still even. 30 minutes in and we've got a really close game on our hands. Far ahead. Yes, you do have the tower, but this point in the game is very So we have Dragon in 1 minute. Blue has some wards that they're going to need in order to protect their path to it, as does Patience. Not quite complete coverage on the bottom side of the equation, but I imagine both teams should be looking to test that forward. However, that's going to get denied. Good painful usage from Team Patience, able to make sure that Salt does not have vision on the side of the Thresh though, about to get caught out. Does not have the flash. Over to Salt for the dragon fight. Unfortunately, Thresh was a lot of detail. We had a lot of the CC that the team had. So it looks like especially with the sideways management, it's going to force Patience to respond to that. Fairly even. Fights still. Let's see. Item spikes. Looks like fight about to be looking at that third one. Jinx, however, is a lot of AD, not as much attack speed, but she'll get that from the Q. But a lot of these fights are going to be determined by how well the ADCs can position behind that tank line, whether or not the Vladimir going around to assassinate. One of the things I'm really looking to see is how well any of those Morgana catches any of those fresh hooks. Nautilus potentially out of position here. There is the bowler available from the Sejuani. However, both teams are listening to it is going to be a 9-2 for Team Salt. They should be able to, with how low they've managed to push Patience down, shove in, take a tower here. I'd like to start seeing some objectives. Often instead of just the blue over the Morgana. I hope that's going to see some fights, but the severe a lot of the convenience of the things still next tower. Does not have the ultimate. He's able to get some damage now. It looks like all the agent. Still managed to protect the objective, which is good for Patience. Unfortunately, Jinx is starting to reach the point in the game, especially with being a little bit ahead on that gold. Having 1400 when she goes back, this is going to get her most of the next item. Means that she's going to be doing a lot of damage to the front line. The one big advantage of the spear does have the Last Whisper. It's going to help melt through the armor stacking of Salt. You have the double Zonias, Randuins, not to mention all of the innate armor and things that Leona gets through her shields. So that will definitely help those. Looks like people are starting to consider going for Baron. Still playing fairly cautiously. Super ultimate pop going on towards the front end. With that takes down, that's the main damage of that. So it's going to fall fairly shortly, and big advantage here to Team Patience. That just out of position enough for the hook to land. Followed up with the cross, able to pop big damage. I would expect that, Bill should be able to get that Baron here fairly free. May have to worry about the Jinx rocket when that comes out, but maybe there's a chance of killing it. Ari is pretty low, but rocket is coming out. It's gonna land, but not quite enough damage. Not quite enough to take out anybody else. That's gonna be a big goal for Jinx. A little risky. Good roll by Leona. Not quite able to snipe it out. Defending the weapon well. However, they do have enough disengage with the Gragas barrels. With the mid lane inner turret. So we now have a couple minutes now. We have Dragon live. Unfortunately, Salt does not seem to be going for it. They did have a short window there. They could have fought for that right after that. They might have just enough time to be able to finish that off, but if they do go for it, I hope that Patience is deciding just to see that
And slain the dragon.
possibly not realize that. So Jinx, yeah, a little more from getting popped. Because yeah, if that Jinx can stay alive, that's going to be a lot of damage that Team Salt does have. But you know, both the Vladimir and the Morgana do a lot of damage, but it's a lot of that magic damage. That you know the Locket, the Banshee's Veil. You know, Gragas is very heavily itemized towards being able to soak a lot of that. And Jinx just, without Jinx, there's just not the come through to get past that. Jinx, smart, gets the QSS, should help her against that first crowd control that comes in onto her. Both teams are looking for the fight mid, however, advantage to Patience with that mid. It's going to make it a lot easier to push down the blue minions. The extra health, the extra damage that those minions do is going to mean quite a bit. And Nautilus is down in the bot side, so Salt should be looking for an engage from the Living Alt from the Bola onto not anymore. Looks like Vlad is going to be trying to duel what Vlad's going to be doing with the Nautilus. He's able to shut that off. It looks like Patience is going to be deciding to rotate down, understanding that we do have the speed limit from that severe ult. Is going to be able to push in. Salt is able to position that does help. Oh, assist star. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Turn the monitor down a little bit. Is this better, Sif? Alright, so looks like we're finally getting a fight. Darius is getting caught out, but he is the tank, so he's able to soak up a lot of the damage. The solar player is going to go wide. Severe is on the back line, able to disengage from the fight. Then again, so is Jinx. Both of these are trying to work through their respective tank lines. Jinx seems to have is able to hold on. I have to admit, this is an incredibly back and forth game. Once one team can get an ace, the next is able to catch someone out of position and help pull the game in fairly even. We're back within 5k. Patience has managed to pick up the 5th tower though, but none of the base towers have been broken. So I imagine we're still going to be looking at a little more farming, trying to work towards another dragon, possibly waiting until the next Baron before, you know, being able to get one of those pushes for the inhibitors. Salt might be able to do something with the range of Jinx. However, that's going to require them to get some of that advanced warding set up inside of Red's jungle, and then possibly be able to transition between lanes, simply because, you know, with Severe, Ahri, and Gragas, it's a lot of wave clear. It makes it very difficult to keep your minion wave alive into the tower. But if Salt can get that pushed up, then get rotated, you know, with some side lane control to another lane, you know, if you can get Jinx on a tower for, you know, even as little as 2 or 3 seconds. That's enough to take down, you know, 500 to 1,000 health. So that's what I'd really hope to see Salt doing. Patience, on the other hand, you know, they don't have quite as much of that tower killing pressure. They still have a fair amount. Severe has fairly good attack speed, and her wave clear is absolutely phenomenal. So what I hope to see them doing is starting to death ball, wait for a position that Salt's out of position, pop the Severe ult, you know, possibly Thresh Nautilus or Ahri Flash into some form of CC to try and get that kind of pick. You know, death ball throughout the map. But regardless, both of these teams really want to make sure that they can get that side lane presence before they can start execute some of these strategies, because otherwise, at this point in the game, there's these very long side lanes, which, if that's set up correctly, can let massive waves just build up, which is enough to kill even some of the base towers. Looks like Vlad's just going to be going for a split push. Nautilus will be going to answer that. Baron is back up, so we may be seeing a fight around here soon. Patience does have the ward coverage for it. Unfortunately, Salt was blind, but Patience is ceding some of that as Vlad is trying to get that pushed in. We do see that top Patience does have that slow wave pushing in, so someone from Salt is going to have to come back here, deal with this before it comes crashing into this tower, which it will be able to kill if no one is there. Salt with the 5 there is going to be going for the dragon. They should be able to kill that in time, but there is going to be a fight breaking out afterwards. Rosie is able to stay in the back line, able to get quite a bit of damage off. Vlad's underneath. Almost able to finish that off. Will be able to pick that one up. 2 for 2 so far. Jinx does have the protection of that Leona. Is able to start taking that Gragas down. Almost. Oh, Gragas is able to finish that Jinx off. Now, while the Jinx does have that lot of damage, there's quite a bit of burst in that tanky Gragas. Almost able to get the ace. That should be able to be finished off. So no one from Salt is going to be able to deal with this massive wave. And then with the champions going to be able to push in to this inhibitor. I would be surprised if the inhibitor didn't fall here. I'd hope to see that Patience will then rotate up to the massive wave that they do have in the top lane. Good fight from Salt, though, able to put the Hemoclade, you know, put a lot of damage onto that Severe. Unfortunately, the Severe was fairly far forward, so was still fighting near the tanks, not able to completely utilize that tank line. And looks like Sejuani will be able to clear that out before the minions are able to finish off that tower. But had Sejuani not intervened, that would have been a very dead tower. So we see Salt coming back up. Patience trying to get some more vision around Baron. They do have the deep ward, so they'll be able to see most of the paths that Salt will want to take through to them. Some of it's going to be falling off soon. But with the crab, it's going to make it very difficult and dangerous for Salt to try and sneak that Baron. So all they can do is really get their wards up, prepare for the next fight, try and keep mid lane pushed out, so that they don't have to worry about the supers calling into the base. So we also have the slow wave building up on the other side of the map. So like we saw before with that wave pushing up on the top side, you know, you have this big wave. Someone from Salt will need to deal with this, otherwise these towers will start to fall. With the supers pushing down mid lane, it's going to put a lot of pressure now onto Salt to deal with this wave management. The one advantage that they do have is with this wave pushing up from the top lane. Unfortunately, the main objective that Patience is wanting to play around right now is the Baron. And since they're playing around the Baron, that gives them a lot of pressure for both the top and mid lane, makes it very safe to go clear out any of those lanes. Looks like we have that fight breaking out. It is just a 4v4 right now. Still fairly brawly. Unfortunately, Blue has used a lot of its AoE ultimates, which is going to make it a little more difficult. Jinx is getting caught out. A lot of damage dealt there. Severe is able to fight out onto the... Yep, and Jinx is forced out, 2 down for free. Mid lane is already down. I would like to see Patience rotating to the spot side. They do have this, you know, decent-sized minion wave coming in. Not as much anymore since Vlad was able to prune that down. But there's no need to push into here. It's very difficult to push in against a Jinx. She has a lot of that wave clear, especially with the Morgana support. So getting in another lane when there's already that threat from the mid lane, you know, make a choose. You can either protect the bot lane, and if you do, then you leave the mid lane open for supers, or you can deal with the supers and you have to give up a lot of the pressure on the bot side. Neither of which is really a good choice. So we do see second inhibitor falling. And Patience opting to play it safe. You do get most of... Oh. Mosey is going to able to mosey on out of there. But play it safe. We do have the rest of Team Salt coming up. It can be very dangerous to fight in someone's base, especially with the home guard boots. Makes it very easy for them to get around. So big thing to be aware of for Patience right now is they can afford to start the Baron, start putting a lot of pressure around that. There are those super minions rolling through the bot side of the map. Provides a lot of distance, especially with Vladimir's TP being down. He's not going to be able to run out and do that. However, Salt is rushing through. Gonna try and get this Baron, which could save them. They are going to manage to secure it. However, Sejuani is here, so is the Ahri. A lot of damage coming out to the Jinx. The QSS is going to prevent the Charm from completely wrecking her. Ahri able to just get out, but there's just so much damage coming from this Patience team. They're so far ahead. And with Jinx not being there, that just eliminates so much damage from Salt. Baron is still alive on 3 of the members. Jinx, you need to switch over to that Pow Pow, get some more lifesteal, or you are going to be toast. Oh, however, Gragas getting collapsed on, but the Lantern is gonna... Oh no, the Lantern fades away. Thresh gets just a little too far away, able to pick that up. However, that fight did pull enough of Salt away that Patience is able to get the top lane inhibitor. And even without the Baron, they have enough damage that they are able to start finishing this out. And I would be very surprised if Patience can't... Oh, Jinx cleaning up. Launching out the rockets. 2, 3. Possibly going to be able to get 4. I would be... And a beautiful turnaround quadra kill by Jinx. I guess unofficial quadra, since there's just enough time delay. So that does buy Salt some time. They have 2 inhibitors down. The dragon is up, however, that's not going to get them 5. So they need to get some kind of pressure from the lanes. They have 20 seconds for Gragas, and then another 30 seconds for someone else. So they should be able to at least get 1 inhibitor down. They won't be able to win off of this. They just don't have the minions there, but this is going to get them a lot more pressure, give them a bit more breathing room while they wait for those 2 inhibitors to spawn. Especially with getting the dragon, this is going to get them number 4, which will definitely help keep them in this game. This is a long-running one. I definitely picked the right game to cast for this first one. Hope the rest of them can still be this amazing. So, we had a big gold disparity at one point. We're now back within a couple thousand of each other. At this point, though, we're looking at 5 or 6 items on all of the champions. 1 inhibitor down for Team Patience, 2 down for Team Salt. The one big thing that Patience does have going for them is that since those are in those split lanes, it's going to be very difficult for Salt to safely push those out. Patience can just try and go for a fight wherever, and it's almost guaranteed that not everyone will be able to be there. Salt is going to absolutely have to defend that last inhibitor. want to get those side lanes pushing out just to buy just enough time so that they'll be able to fight, get the clear, and then deal with the supers right as they're rushing into the base. However, that time is now. Patience right in the middle. Sejuani going in deep, trying to take a lot of the damage. Able to get some decent CC out. Jinx from the side, not quite putting a lot of damage down, which is going to end up costing a lot of this fight. So, good juggling by Team Patience, and especially since Jinx is being forced out, so unless you can see, you know, Jinx starting to get any kind of finishes. Oh, there's one. Starting to get the resets. Does not have the ult though. But alright, and now Sejuani's able to come in, start clearing them out, and this wasn't able because Jinx had managed to push out some of the side waves so that they could fight safely without having to deal with the imminent threat. Good wave management by Salt there, even under that kind of pressure. Patience still trying to push in. I'm a little bit surprised that they weren't able to get this inhibitor, given that they had, you know, the 5 versus 3. Usually what you can do at that point is make sure you have your abilities up, and if anyone tries to get into position, you simply have more abilities that you can throw at the other person. But Patience definitely respecting the late game power of the Jinx and that Vladimir. And Salt is able to survive. So we have Baron spawning in 2 minutes. Salt does have all of their inhibitors open, which means that there is a very real threat of any kind of split push pressure. There's not as much of the backdoor capability from Team Patience. So I would expect both teams trying to be building up that vision around Baron, make it very easy so that, you know, in 1 minute they could all be there safely, start to get that kind of death push set up. Around that time, you know, the inhibitors will be either respawned or about to respawn soon. Yeah, so here comes blue. Red will be shortly. So there's not going to be a lot of those lane pressure. It's going to mostly depend on how you set up the waves to push, whether you can get your side just slightly ahead, starting that slow push, or not. Patience is getting the Baron Vision set up, so it's going to be very dangerous for Salt to go up into there. Fortunately, the Jinx does have the blue trinket to be able to scout out one death push. But I would like to see a little more vision. All right, Leona is going in. Patience is not quite in position to be able to capitalize on how forward that Leona is. Severe ult is popped with an attempt, but Salt is able to disengage. With no flashes used, so as well as no ult. So, you know, we're looking at both teams with their ults, with their full regiment. You know, none of these side lanes are looking particularly in threat right now for side lanes being pushed in. So a lot of this is going to come down to, you know, is Jinx or Severe out of position? Vladimir's fortunately fairly safe getting caught, able to pull away. Sejuani, everyone's grouped up. You're going to be able to get a bull in. Saving it. Nice snare onto several of them. Ari's able to start dealing a lot of damage from the side. Jinx, however, though, is running, not attacking just yet, while Mosey is able to just keep laying on the damage. And it looks like that's going to be an ace, a clean ace for Team Patience, and that should be the game. With 60-second death timers and just one tower standing between them and victory, Gragas is just going to toss out the root ult, and, well, that is first round of the tournament. Awesome. I will see y'all in the next game.